Guys, welcome to the Evan Show. Today I'm going to be showcasing all the MCU Wandas in Marvel Infinity, which is really exciting. Let's get started. Her first ability is U, which is telepathic senses, which just allows her to locate just about everybody in a good range, and she can click on somebody to see where they are at. Her next ability is E, which is Energy Shield, which is just basic, but it only works for the front, so if somebody attacks her from the back, it will actually take your health, and she can actually use this shield while she is flying. Next is Keybind Z, which is just an energy beam, which she hits the beam at the target. Next is T, which is her telekinesis, which just allows her to lift up the target, and if she clicks, she can throw them. Next keybind is Space, which you double click space to levitate. It is not your flight. Now this ability you do not have to purchase with Avenger coins, but it's not as good as the flight. Next is Click, which is Energy Bolt. So if you click, she will throw just a basic energy bolt, which does good damage. Next is H, which is your Psionic Bolt, which you need to keep holding until it gets a big glow to be able to throw it at your target. And I find this ability really cool, and it throws the target back really far. Next is R, which is Energy Blast, which is kind of like your Energy Bolt, but it does a whole lot more damage, and it is a more powerful ability. Next keybind is Q, which is Energy Bomb, which throws a Chaos Bomb anywhere you throw it. Next keybind is F, which is Maximum Flight, which is her actual official flight, and when you land, it has an explosion landing. Now we are moving on to Wardrobe Wanda, which is the WandaVision and Corrupted Wanda pack. First ability is C, which is Hex Teleportation, which just allows you to teleport anywhere where you choose. Next ability is F, which is Hex Flight, which just allows Wanda to fly, just like the Maximum Flight with different effects, which is really cool. And this flight actually has a good explosion landing. Next ability is G, which is Transformation, which will transform Wanda into the WandaVision version of the Scarlet Witch, which I love the animation for. And this will actually give you more abilities, but we're gonna save WandaVision for later. Next keybind is Click, which is Energy Bolt, which is simple, just like Endgame. You keep clicking to throw the energy bolt. Next keybind is R, which is Hex Blast, which is just like Energy Bolt, but it's actually stronger, and it actually has a different animation, where she swings around and throws it. Next keybind is T, which is just simple. It's just her telekinesis. When she clicks, she can throw the target. Next keybind is V, which is Mass Choke. And if your target doesn't have a lot of health, it is very easy to kill your target. Next keybind is X, which is Energy Repulse, which just repulses anybody that is around you, which is really cool. Next keybind is Y, which is Hex, where Wanda just creates the Hex, which it has this cool short animation, which I like so it doesn't give the people around you that much time to run away from you creating the Hex. And it actually looks really cool, but it does take a while for the red filter to load. Next keybind is Z, which is her energy beam, which is actually very powerful in my opinion. It can actually get rid of your enemy really fast. Next keybind is K, which is energy orb, which is technically like her shield. It is actually a very big shield in my defense, but I do love the particles. Her last keybind is H, which is mind control freeze, which will make the target technically freeze. So if you see when I blast him, he doesn't move or react. Now we're moving on to WandaVision Scarlet Witch. Let's get started. Her first ability is C, which is Hex Teleportation. Next keybind is E, which is Hex Shield, which just allows her to protect herself. And it is actually very, very simple, and you can even use abilities in this shield. Next ability is F, which is just her Hex Flight, which also has a magical landing. Next keybind is C, which is Mass Telekinesis. Next keybind is H, which is Healing, where she can just heal herself. Next keybind is Click, which is just Energy Bolt, which is actually, it looks really cool and it does good damage. Next keybind is Q, which is Hex Barrage, which sends out multiple Hex bolts at once. Next is Hex Blast, which is kind of like Hex Barrage, but with one of them. Next is Telekinesis, which I'm not a fan of this WandaVision's because you kind of get lifted up with your target too. So if you throw your target, you'll also get thrown, which is not really that great. Next, we have Telepathic Senses, which is just the same as Endgame, where you can click someone and locate where they are, and there is a pretty good range to this. Next is V, which is Disintegration, where your target needs to be at low health. Next keybind is X, which is Hex Slash. Next keybind is Y, which is the Hex, which is the same thing as Wardrobe Wanda. Next keybind is Z, which is just Energy Beam. Next keybind is B, which is Mass Torture. for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video because I enjoyed making it, and this is a reminder, like, subscribe, and share. Thanks for watching. To be continued. Come back for part 2.